So why public art? Oftentimes, a lot of contemporary art, you engage with it via a museum or an insular space. I believe the benefit of public art is one of accessibility in terms of the community you live in. So having these four pieces in public in various parts of DC give it greater access to the wider, broader DC community, especially those who don't frequent museums. Oftentimes, public art is utilized to beautify a community. I actually want public art that engages the community. I want public art that's asking a community to be active in imagining a new community, imagining a new world, imagining a new status quo. My name is Antoine Williams. I'm originally from North Carolina. I currently live in Florida. I am a contemporary artist. I am an interdisciplinary artist. I work in a variety of media, from drawing, painting, collage, mixed media, public art, installation work, as well as sound. In my practice, I'm really concerned with how power and class work within the status quo, and also how does the status quo affect Black embodied people physically, emotionally, psychologically, but also how do Black embodied people subvert the status quo. This project, Mythic Futures, is actually the second iteration of a broader ongoing project called Black Fusion in Society. And in it, I'm looking at historical fiction, I'm looking at Afrofuturism, Afro-surrealism, I'm looking at collaborative storytelling, and also what I like to call contemporary Black folklore. And I'm asking the question, what happens when the most vulnerable people within a society creates their own new world, their own new community? And Mythic Futures is four distinct public art pieces in each quadrant of Washington, DC. Each deity represents a different way of being, way of interacting. One is progression, one is self-care, one is intersectionality, and the other one is community. I also think it's really important for us as Black embodied people to articulate and advocate against the things we don't want in society, but it's also just as important for us to imagine the society that we want. And so I'm wanting each of these murals to be a site of collective Black imagining. Have you seen the piece that's down from Howard? I have not. It's a banner. Working with Nicholson has been quite pleasant. I reached out to them maybe a year or so ago with this idea of wanting to do public art, wanting to work with these mythic beings and talk about having an AR component, and they were right on board with it. And so we applied for grants, we were able to get those, but they were really open to my ideals. They were really open to any sort of crazy, wild thing that I wanted to do, and they were actually very supportive. In terms of the logistics, as an artist, that's not always my strong suit, so they were able to support me in ways in terms of financially, in terms of logistics, in ways that I wasn't able to do. So that allowed me to just create and engage the work in the way that I thought was beneficial. So the way I chose the media for this project, each mural is site-specific. I have a history of working with wheat paste. I'm really interested in street art. And so spaces that we were able to pick, two were really amenable to working with. So we decided to go with wheat paste, which is me drawing, blowing the drawings up, and then adhering them to the wall. Other spaces were much larger, which we were not able to do wheat paste. Therefore, I made mixed media drawings. We took photos of that, and then we blew them up and created large-scale banners. So the AR component, the augmented reality that is part of these murals, I want the public to engage these murals on a variety of levels, right? Many of us live parts of our lives online. And so these murals, you can scan in a QR code, and the QR code will take you to a site. Then you can open Instagram, and you will be able to view an augmented reality component of the piece via Instagram, and then you're able to share theirs.
We are an ecosystem. Culture is an ecosystem. We pollinate worlds with our breath to suffocate their greed.
You're being able to continue imagining new worlds, sharing that with other folks, and then hopefully, some sort of conversation or community comes out of that. The process for these 4 murals is actually interesting. I'm always thinking of ideals, coming up with concepts. This project is part of a broader narrative. And so these deities, they were images, ideals that I had already considered. It was just a matter of finding a space for them. And so I have an entire catalog of mythic beings, of deities that come from the Black Fusionist Society project. And so because this project is site specific, it's okay, so how can we take Ayana, this specific deity, and make it cohesive to the particular space, the one that we're talking about behind me. And so that's what I had to do for each one. There were ideals that are always there. And so I'm constantly thinking of ideals, constantly thinking of what ifs. It's great when you're able to get the opportunity to see them come to life. The importance of art when it comes to humans, when it comes to civilizations, when it comes to culture, it's something that we all do. And so I think it's part of being alive. However, for me, the importance of art is art can be extremely subversive. It can be used as a tool to question power. It can be used as a tool to bring community. It can be used as a tool to achieve some sort of self-care, care for the community. And so I like to utilize art in that sense. How can we bring people together? How can we challenge the status quo in a way that will benefit those around us? Oftentimes when I create work, once you create it, it's partly no longer yours, right? How people engage the work, I actually think is the most interesting thing because people are coming to your work from very different places, right? I'm encouraging people to imagine new worlds. What that is for them can be anything. One of the most interesting things about making work is how people engage it. And so I hope my work more so acts as a prompt, pushes people to sort of engage new ideals, new thoughts, new conversations.